So what you're actually looking for, pointing at, is depth. I mean, depth to our leaders in terms of thought, the thought process, as it were, that has informed the movement, not just, you know, because for money or for the convenience.
Yes, because there is no way you can effect any lasting change without having a very firm belief in that change, without having a firm grip in the political system. And that was why the leaders of old were able to accomplish so much in terms of infrastructural development. In fact, if you go to some parts of Nigeria, you find out that the key industries, the key industries and factories were set up in the 60s. So why were these people able to achieve so much with so little? And when you mention some of these names, you find out that people can identify them with a particular line of reasoning. And I'm talking about political reasoning that is not based on anything. We want to see a movement that is grassroots based, but that the leadership must be extremely pure in terms of organizational pattern. So that is my own take on that, and I believe that as soon as we do that, you see that the problem will never be the followership. The followership in any part of the world has never constituted a problem. If you want to move a nation forward, it must be reflected in the lifestyle of the leadership.
Well, I think, you just said something about selfishness, and that's what we get from your analysis on this defection. And you say, well, it lacks ideological meaning in it all. Perhaps you must have been following happenings in the polity in the nation with regards to a series of letters that have actually come up. We also two letters purportedly from the same individual yesterday, Obasanjo. We saw the letter from former President Olusegun Obasanjo to President Jonathan, and the CBN letter, that is all still being sorted out. Tell us your thoughts, especially with the Obasanjo's letter.
Well, I will not want to join the bandwagon of people who believe that there's fire on the mountain. And as a philosopher, I'm guided by the principles of logic and clear reasoning. If there's any letter, I believe first and foremost that we have to disengage the two aspects of it, both the messenger and the message. And in dealing with the message also, we have to take into very strong consideration the circumstances, the personality, the integrity, the antecedents of the messenger. These are all rolled into one. But if you look, going through the message, the letter, which I have done more than once, there is a lot of personal issues in the letter. And I think that is the platform on which the letter was based. A lot of personal issues that ought to have been resolved personally. Those issues that have nothing to do with the Nigerian populace. And I think it's also in bad faith to, by whatever stretch of imagination, to allow that letter to get into the hands of the public. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, remains the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. If the Constitution, the decree of 1999, the so-called Constitution we are operating today, was designed for some people, they should
so-called, it's a constitution.
Yes. If some people are not comfortable because the powers, embedded in that constitution, the powers are so massive. And I believe that the mindset of the architects of that constitution never envisaged that the constitution would be operated by somebody from the south side. If that is what is making some people uncomfortable, they should allow the tenure of the president to expire. I disagree with the president on so many issues. I also believe, even in that disagreement, that is the best president we've had so far. And if you look at that letter, and I'm not being comical, if you remove the addressee and ask Jonathan to sign that letter, he could send that letter to any of the past presidents. You find out that we are still talking about the sequence of events that have been going on since the past 2 or 3 regimes.
Let me get you there, because even though you say it's not comical, but it's quite serious. You're saying that letter can also be addressed to all the presidents,
all the past military presidents.
So in other words, you're saying, looks like deja vu, what we've seen before with other administrations. Is that what you say?
There is no classical departure. We're talking about corruption. Corruption is not a new industry in Nigeria. The industry has been there and it's been thriving. So what I expect is that people should make very constructive suggestions on how to tackle it. And I expect the president to demonstrate the willingness, the political willingness and drive and the ability to tackle the issue of corruption. But I don't believe that we can find corruption on the pages of the newspaper.
No, the question
Selective justice is the worst known form of injustice. And that's what we have seen in EFCC for the past, since inception of EFCC. It's not a new thing. So what is playing out now, I think that Nigerians should come together and be more constructive in criticizing the president. You don't criticize the president to kill. When you write a letter, you are making references to blood, you are making references to God use this and use that. I think people are being comical.
The question is, you've made 2 points now. You've said that you disagree with the president on some issues, but you think that this letter, it would seem, has absolutely no merit for you. And then 2, you also talked about how this letter could have been addressed to anyone, and you also say that
any of the past
President Goodluck Jonathan is the best president we've ever had. I'd like you to start with the last one. Why do you say so?
Well, I think the level of political freedom we enjoy today is unprecedented. The level of political freedom that Nigerians enjoy today is unprecedented. A lot of references have been made about corruption. Some of these issues cannot be verified by myself or yourself. So when they have concrete evidence, they should lay it before they will bring it. And you don't fight corruption in isolation. I have raised a lot of questions in the past. The members of the National Assembly, if you look at our Constitution, Section 70, there is a clear-cut provision that any earnings, any monies, any funds going to the legislators in both houses of the National Assembly must be based and predicated strictly and exclusively on the recommendations of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Is that being done today? Number 2.
No, just a moment, because I think you've answered my question.
So we'll have a quick with that.
Yes.
Just a moment, because I think he's answered the first question. I asked him why he thinks the president, on what issues don't you agree with him?
Well, of course, I want him to show some measure of firmness in dealing with some of these issues, the issue of Boko Haram, security issues, and of course, dealing with the issue of unemployment amongst the youth. And then looking at the university system, now that they've called off the strike, I belong to the school of thought that is insisting that there was absolutely no reason for the strike in the first place. That those issues, these concessions that were made now, could have been made 5 months ago. So I believe that the president should be more forthcoming in some of these issues, and there should be some openness. That openness must not be restricted to the presidency. As I am now, after about a quarter of a decade in law practice, I should know how much my Senate president is earning. I should know how much the Speaker of the House of Assembly is earning. I should know how much the person who is representing my constituency in Oka is earning. Because these funds are not being provided by any account. The funds belong to Nigeria. These funds are coming from the
accountability and transparency. That's that's where we leave it now. Richard Nwankwo, would like to thank you for coming. He's of the Crusade for Justice and also a lawyer. Well, sorry, will take a moment now.